All right, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to another one of our Israelites gathering Shabbat studies. My name is Yedan Yasharal. I'm with my brother Kased Yasharal. Shabbat Shalom, Mark. How you doing this week?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, I'm happy to be back on the stream. And as always, I'm thankful for another Shabbat. It's always needed.
All praises, all praises. I know you were a little bit under the weather last week, so we're happy to have you back and back on the job. This past week, we had another one of their holidays, the holidays. We had so-called Thanksgiving, and a lot of people had to deal with family and deal with that uncomfortable situation of trying to stay set apart during all the pagan festivities, and it's like the adversary will use our families as hostage, where a lot of family members were not able to see them until they're able to get the days off, and then a lot of times that's during these pagan holidays, and we struggle with trying to remain set apart versus being alienated from our family. So it's very difficult during this year. It's difficult for people that don't have family, where it's the highest time of suicide, where people that don't have families are killing themselves. So imagine how it affects us when we have family, but we have to remain set apart and we have to make difficult decisions. So, with that being said, this particular class is going to be on idolatry, giving glory to another. So we'll be able to explain to people why we don't deal with these particular things. It's no personal indictment against anybody else. It's just once we know better, we have to do better. So again, the title of our Shabbat study today is going to be Idolatry, Giving Glory to Another. And if you haven't already, visit our website, israelitesgathering.com. If you haven't, download our free application for Android or for Apple. It's also entitled Israelites Gathering. So you'll be able to access all of our classes, our study materials. We also have our holy days up there, which we're going to talk about as well. And you can also reach out to other Hebrews around the country or even in your area on the app as well. So definitely check that out. Like I said, the holy days, we do have Hanukkah coming up, which is going to be Tuesday night, December the 9th, which is an 8-day feast. It's not a Moedim, it's not a set apart day, but it's our tradition that has to do with our culture, which we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. Everybody else is giving glory and honor to their pagan gods during these harvest seasons. And then we are sucked into that and we end up giving our glory to another. We did it ignorantly in the past, but now we have the knowledge. So we're doing it willfully, knowing that we're taking part in these pagan practices. So again, you have on December the 9th, you will have our pull up the calendar again. We'll have our Feast of Dedication. And then in 2026, you got Purim, which will get you the dates for that in 2026, which is in late February, early March. So again, these are the feast days and the things that pertain to our culture to give glory to our God. So these are the things that we should be focused on. So we're going to get into that today. So again, the title of our Shabbat study today is Idolatry, Giving Glory to Another. And before we start, let's look at what we just dealt with. So real quick, we're going to do a history study. We got a lot of family in town. We're dealing with a lot of family. And then we got this Xmas holiday coming up where we're going to have a lot of family. So it's a good opportunity to be a light. If you're going to be amongst your family, you don't have to be, the enemy to everybody and ruining the fun. But if somebody asks you and you have to present why you believe what you believe and what you believe, you'll be prepared. So let's start with the one that just passed. You got October 31st, which is Halloween. What is that a celebration of? That's Day of the Dead, which they call Dias de los Muertes, which is the Day of Dead. It's a holiday traditionally celebrated from November 1st to the 2nd, and more recently, October 31st. And this involves them actually praising the dead ancestors. And it's not to say you don't want to remember your ancestors that pass away, but they're doing things like leaving food for the dead and you know putting dead bones and candy skulls and all type of things, like you're praising the dead. And that's also similar to All Saints Day, All Hallows Eve. All this stuff is all around their harvest gods and worshiping the dead. So that's why we don't deal with Halloween or Halloween, right? And then right after Halloween, because all of this has to do with harvesting, you got Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving, we know you got the whole little fake history about the pilgrims and how the pilgrims ate with the Native Americans, but really what happened was these pilgrims were starving to death. The Native Americans showed them favor and showed them mercy, and then they turned around and gave them covers laced with smallpox, and turned around and ate dead people and all kind of weird stuff. But one of their major symbols is the cornucopia, which is that, the fruit of balloon thing, where you got the little fruit basket and it has all the fruits and stuff in there. And that's the major symbol along with the turkey for Thanksgiving. But where does that come around? Well, cornucopia, the horn of plenty, is a symbol of abundance and nourishment, a horn-shaped container overflowing with produce flowers. In the Greek, it was called the horn of Almathea or Amalthea, right? And this was a nurse of Zeus, which in their history, they're saying that Zeus used this broke horn that he broke off a ram or a goat or something of that nature that raised him. And he changed it to where it would now produce fruit and things of that nature. So that is the history of that. It goes back to Zeus worship, right? Then you leave November and you go right into December, right into Saturnalia, which is the worship of the pagan god Saturn, right? And in Saturnalia, an ancient Roman festival, held on the 17th of December all the way into the 19th, even into 23rd of December, which is the winter solstice. This is the shortest night of the year. So that means the following day, the sun would grow a little bit bigger every day. In other words, the day would grow a little bit longer. So this was them worshiping the birth of the sun, S-U-N, not the sun, S-O-N, not Mashiach. But this was, again, pagan worship of their pagan god Saturn, who they gave feasts for and partying and things of that nature. And this was where they would do things opposite, where they would take the slaves and they would feed the slaves like they were serving the slaves. It was kind of like opposite day. They would do things to kind of mock poor people. And this all had nothing to do with Mashiach or the Son of the Most High. So they took you from that, then they took you out of that and brought you straight into the next pagan holiday, which would have been New Year's. New Year's, which would have been Janus worship. All right, let me pull that up. You had Janus, which was the two-headed god, ancient Roman religion, the myth Janus. That's where January comes from. It's the gods of beginnings, gates, transition, times, duality, doorways. So they're praising this god so that they could get a good harvest and a good feast. And you get out of that and you go right into Lupercalia, which is February, which they tell you is Valentine's Day, which goes to their other pagan festival that they had where they would literally chase down women and beat them with a stick and rape little boys and do all kind of weird stuff, Lupercalia with the wolf, going back to Rome, where Rome was supposedly Romulus was raised by and fed off the breast of a wolf. So this weird pagan stuff, this is the history. This is where this stuff comes from. So why are we bringing this up? Let's open up. Let's go straight into the book. Let's go to Exodus chapter 32, Shemot chapter 32. And again, idolatry, giving glory to another. And this is an open forum. So if anybody has questions, comments, as long as we chime in decently in order, by all means. So we're starting Exodus, Shemot chapter 32. And we're going to start that at verse 1.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 1. And when the people saw that Moshe delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses or Moshe, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. Verse 2. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron.
All right, so let's just get a little bit of context here. So this is literally after they done crossed the Red Sea, they've been freed from captivity, from slavery, and the God of Israel, Yahweh, has shown them miracles and has told them everything advanced, sent them an intercessor, did all these different things, and they know for sure that the gods of Egypt are not real, that this is all pagan, and that this is the only true Elohim. And Moses is gone for a short time, and the people are ready to go back to pagan worship. So this just shows you the condition of our people. And look at Aaron, who was in captivity with them as well. This is where the line of the high priest comes from. And Aaron is easily bending. He's bending to go right back. Well, that's what the people want. So that's what we're going to do. And that's a problem. That's how many of you think our leaders intentionally want to pagan worship and intentionally want to serve the Greeks, intentionally want to mislead our people? No, they're just bending at the will of the people because the people love to have it so.
You know, one thing I see here also is that it's very easy to look at these people and say, well, dang, it's crazy, that they're asking for gods, and they just had an encounter in a major way with the one true God, and now they're seeking idols, and it's easy to look at these people and judge them,
right?
But you also have to remember that same tendency, that same thing that they're going through, that's a natural human tendency that none of us is above, and so keeping that in mind is important, that we don't get spiritually lazy and that we do the things that Yah has commanded us to do, but also that we keep his feast days because it helps keep us in remembrance of him, of his way. And we have to do that, especially in seasons like now where, the most of the holy days are over with until Passover, and we're in a dark season and we're being kind of bombarded with these holidays and all this idolatry and paganism. It's important that we have a practice beyond even the feast days, but just returning to the word and reading the word and immersing ourselves in his word, like we're commanded to do, because we also have the human tendency to forget or get focused or on things that are irrelevant. So right. That's the way I look at it.
Right. Absolutely. And, all of these pagan holidays, you look at it, they're right around harvest times. It's all to for them to give glory to their gods for the harvest that they've received. So they're giving the adversary, the devil, all the credit for all the blessings that they've received in the year. And that's why you have the busiest days of shopping, the most money and all that, because people are spending money on their gods. Now you're giving glory into a pagan entity, a pagan deity. And if you don't know this, then you're doing it unknowingly. We all did that unknowingly. But once you know this and you intentionally do this, there's no excuse. You can give all the excuses in the world of why you're doing it, but you are intentionally giving glory to another entity for the harvest that you have in your life. And imagine how that makes the Most High feel.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 4. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt.
So these be your gods. So notice what they doing. The Egyptians worship the calf. They actually worship cows. I've met Africans that literally talk about the god of the horns and this, that, and it's the spirit of the animal. Like, no, you worshiping an animal. All these things come from the Most High. Why would I worship the animal? Why would I worship the person? Why would I worship anything if all this comes from the Most High? So this is an African culture type thing where they're worshiping. Why do you said, tell them that your people? Why do you think Joseph said, tell them that your people are shepherds, you know, that raise calves and cows and stuff like that. And we sacrifice those cows. We were an abomination to the Egyptians because they here worshiping the cow. We sacrificing it and eating it. And now Moshe gone 15 minutes and we saying, these be your gods. So this is idolatry at its finest, where we're literally giving glory to another for what the Most High has done. And it's not that he just, hey, he made it rain today or he made the sun come up. No, he did miracles for you, freed you, stopped. He changed science. He created all new ways of things to happen just for you to turn around and give that credit to somebody else. Let's stop right there. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 42. Yeshayah chapter 42. So yes, it is that serious. Why we not keeping your Thanksgiving? Why we're not keeping your Christmas? Why we not coming on Easter? We not dealing with those things. Yeah, we like to eat. And if it's clean food, yeah, we love to eat it. Are you specifically dedicating it to the dead or to a pagan god? No, maybe not. But if you know that this is in worship and in respect to another entity, and you do all the rituals for it, yes, that's what you're doing. You mean you can't eat Wednesday? You mean you can't eat Friday? You can't have another day because people not just here in town for one day. They usually in town for the weekend, but they insist on having it on these days because of tradition. Tradition. And if that tradition is pagan, you got to let it go. Point blank. Yeshayah chapter 42, we're going to read 1 through 17.
Isaiah Yeshayah chapter 42 and verse 1. Behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect in whom my soul delights. I've put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth.
And that's what they're not ready for when he returns. When he was here before, he whooping people in the temple with a reed and kicking over. When he come back, he not coming here trying to get you to pay attention. He's coming back for judgment. Verse 4.
He shall not fail nor be discouraged till he have set judgment in the earth, and the owls shall wait for his law.
All right, so till he have set judgment. People, why are you judging me? You always judging me. If you walk away, I didn't judge you. Judgment would be when I execute the sentence for the transgression that you have been found guilty for by two or more witnesses. That's judgment. If I warn you, that's admonishment. Be careful.
Mashiach didn't judge anybody when he came. He said, you're in danger of the hellfire. He warned people because you have a chance to repent. And if I rebuke you, that's when I tell you what you're doing is transgression. That's telling you what you're doing is wrong. That's not judging you. So when he returns, he's not rebuking you. He's not warning you. He's judging. That's why there's fire in his eyes, because you will not be able to withstand the fire. Everything around him will be on fire. So this is what the reflection in his eyes is going to be, the world on fire. Verse 5.
Thus says Yahweh, your Elohim, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and which comes out of it, he that gives breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. I, Yahweh, have called you in righteousness, and will hold your hand, and will keep you, and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles.
All right, so if you're supposed to be a light to the nations, then what are you leading them to? What's the light for? The light to just show them that they all gonna die? The light to just show them that they ain't worth nothing, that they just horrible and they less than you? That's what the light is for? The light is to manifest what is in the dark. And when you walk in the dark, you stumble. That's what Mashiach said. So we're a light to the Gentiles to show them the contrast, that this is the way of Yah, which produced life in abundance. This is the way of man and the way of the adversary, which produced death and destruction. That's what your light is for. Verse 7.
To open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am Yahweh, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images.
So his glory will he not give to another. So how you going to give glory to the Capricorn, which is where cornucopia and all that stuff from Thanksgiving? How you going to give to the two-headed God? How you going to give your glory unto a golden calf? And you're going to give the praise to that golden calf like that's the thing that saved you? Just by changing the name? Notice what they did. This be Yahweh, the God that free. They named it after the Most High. Literally, after they were just released and saved by him. It's the same thing we're doing right now. Giving praise and honor to the harvest God of the Celts or the Celtic or the Irish or the Greeks or the Romans. You giving them glory. He's telling you, I will not give my glory to another, neither praise. So this is why we cannot take part. I'm sorry, they're going to have to be upset with you. Verse 9.
Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them.
No other religion or belief has that, where their Elohim, their God, told them everything from start to finish, gave them the whole bones of scripture, and it all happened. Nobody can produce that. Not the Book of the Dead, Gilgamesh, and all those other weird. None of them can do that.
Verse 10. Sing unto Yahweh a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth, you that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar does inhabit. Let the inhabitants of the rocks sing, let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory unto Yahweh, and declare his praise in the islands.
Let them give glory unto Yahweh. You are doing the absolute opposite. You are cursing him. You are cursing the Most High when you are giving glory to anything other than him. That's why I didn't title the class Giving Glory to a Pagan. No, to anything, to another. You can't even give glory to a man. When you give glory to a man, he's supposed to say all praises to the Most High Yah, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Period. We don't even give glory to Mashiach. We give it to the Most High through him. Because how do you glory the Most High? Through his word.
Verse 13. Yahweh shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holden my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. I will make waste mountains and hills, and dry up all their herbs. And I will make the rivers islands. I will dry up the pools. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them.
Do you think that that's a coincidence? That it's talking about bringing you the blind by a way that they know not, and make darkness light before them? And then a few verses up, it's talking about how we're going to be a light to the Gentiles. These other nations don't know this path. They don't know this way. They've heard about it through other people. So we are being a light unto them when we walk according to the ancient path. And the nations have to make their decision. They're making it right now. Who are you going to choose? Your forefathers and your ancestors, or the Most High? The same thing we got to choose. Who do we want to choose? Israel, our forefathers and ancestors, or the Most High? We all got to make that decision. All right, finish that last verse.
They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed that trust in graven images, that say to the molten images, you are gods.
Now that sounds ridiculous, right? Who's going to look at a molten image and say, you are our gods? We just read our ancestors literally did that. Here's Yahweh, the God that freed us out of Egypt. This is our ancestors. This is what we do. And we're doing the same thing today. We just subtle about it, about the way we say it. All right, let's move on. Let's go to First Maccabees. We're going into the Apocrypha. We're going into the first book of Maccabees. So this is in the 1611 King James. If you do not have access to the Apocrypha, you can go either to our website, IsraelitesGathering.com, or you can go on the application for your cell phone, Israelites Gathering, and you'll be able to access anything that we read out of. So we're going to the first book of Maccabees, and we're going to chapter 1. All right, you go ahead and start that at verse 1. So now we're looking at, since we want to follow the Greeks and be like the Greeks, now the Greeks have taken over us. And we have to fight to not do their pagan rituals.
All right, First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
All right, so this is Greece. This is Grecians now coming up. So he's came out of the land of Chetam, which is Greece. And this is Alexander, the same one that they call Alexander, the so-called Great. He's the son of Philip, the Macedonian. So this is letting you know this ain't that far. This ain't that long ago. This is how the world started getting lighter in complexion because of this reign right here. Every other reign before this was melanin. Now you have a new form of people. Verse 2.
And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
So these are the realms that are throughout the world. Again, how the world started getting lighter in complexion, because these are his homeboys he grew up with as kids in Greece. And they are now over these realms all over the world, because Alexander died in like, I think he was barely 30 years old. He only reigned 12 years and he was young. So all these people are now over. So now even places like Egypt, which is Africa, now has a white king. And this is how Cleopatra and all these Euro Gentiles got in there. And now they are become Egyptians. And now you are Egyptian because were born in that region versus being, Kemet, or being of the seed of Ham.
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put on crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
Same people still in control. Verse 10.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
All right, so this verse right here, this is your black fraternities, your black Greek sororities and fraternities. These are the very people that went to the Greeks and the Romans and made a covenant with them, saying it's better off being under your rule and your control. Because once we were not under your rule and control, it's been horrible. Because black people can't run stuff. We horrible at running stuff. That's what they saying. So they went and they say, oh, we rather have the Greeks run things because we're doing better than our brothers. So it's not necessarily that they're better off, but they're doing better off than their brothers and sisters by receiving favor from the people that have them in captivity. No different than today. Verse 12.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
No different. As in today. We know that if you in our land, when we was in control, and you come up there talking about you a man trying to marry another man, there's going to be a whole rock formation where you used to stand. But they would say, okay, well, no, let me go to America, because in America, it's legal to do this stuff. So I can do what the nations do. So this is what these people do. They're now going to the nations to get a license to do the things that our law said that you're supposed to be dead for doing. Verse 14.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
Okay, so is it against our custom to exercise? No. But what's the custom of the heathen? To exercise naked with boys. That's not our custom. Why do I need to be naked to exercise with you? We don't take baths naked together. Why would we be exercising naked together? These are all Greek customs. Verse 15.
And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
All right. Now you can't make yourself uncircumcised. Once you cut something off, you can't put it back on. Right. So what they talk about making yourself uncircumcised is they're removing themselves from the covenant of the Most High by doing the things that the heathen do, which is mischief.
Verse 16. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death.
And this is again, this is this is when Egypt started to become European. Ptolemaic. If you follow him, he's, they try to say like he Pharaoh, king of Egypt, but he's a Greek. Verse 19.
Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly.
All right, so you know where your stuff is at. So where are these people? The Greece, and the Rome. The Vatican got all your stuff. He took it to his land. They got all your stuff, all the things that prove your very existence. They have all these things, and they're starting to return some of it.
Verse 25. Therefore there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector to tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side.
All right, so he pulled down the houses and the walls and all these things. So this is the walls that you see there now aren't the walls that were our walls, not the walls of our temple. We would have used unhewn stones. These are the walls that the heathens put up once they occupied our land. So this is our temple being defiled. All right. So what we had to do is, with the book of Maccabees, it talks about how our brothers fought to get back control of our temple. And once they got back control of the temple, they had to get rid of all the pagan stuff that was in there, and they rededicated that temple. That's where Hanukkah comes from. It's dedication. All right, so let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 4. So let's move to chapter 4. And we're going to read 28 through 61, and we're going to see Hanukkah now. And Shabbat Shalom to the Hicks family. Good to see you all. And as big Shalom to my brother Dre Day. Always good to see you, family.
First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 28. The next year, therefore, following Lysias, gathered together 60,000 choice men of foot and 5,000 horsemen, that he might subdue them.
All right, so this is when we started fighting back with the brothers, the Maccabees, which means the hammer. They were comparing these brothers to a hammer, the way that they would attack, and they started to get some victories. And now the heathen are surrounding them and trying to attack and have all the horsemen to fight them. And we're going to see what happened.
Verse 29. So they came into Idumea and pitched their tents at Beth Sarah, and Judas met them with the 10,000 men. And when he saw that mighty army, he prayed and said, Blessed are you, O Savior of Israel, who did quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of your servant David, and gave the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan and the son of Saul and his armor bearer. Shut up this army in the hand of your people Israel, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen.
All right, so it's 60,000 horsemen, right? Well, actually, 60,000 men on foot, 5,000 horsemen is who he's going against. And on his side, he has how much? What he had, like 10,000 or something like that? Let's see. How many people he came out there with? 10,000 men. So he got 10,000 men versus 60,000 men on foot with 5,000 on horses. This odds, we not supposed to win these odds. But Yah will put us in situations like this so that the world can see who's the real God. 60,000 men should have no problem waxing 10,000 men. And then you got 5,000 men on horse too. So when this victory is given, we know the Most High did this. But if we're not willing to use our vessels to be the 10,000 men that got to stand there looking at certain suicide, Yah can't do his work. Because who cares if 10,000 men beat another 10,000? Oh, hey, you had a good day. But when miracles like this happen, who's willing to provide their body to allow the miracle to be done? Verse 32.
Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. Cast them down with the sword of them that love you, and let all those that know your name praise you with thanksgiving.
That's the real thanksgiving right there, right? Give praise and honor to the Most High. You can't do that on a pagan holiday. Point blank. You're not giving him glory by giving honor to another. Saying that you giving thanksgiving to the Most High. It's like praying over pork.
My bad.
You there?
Oh, no, my bad. I thought you were about to make a point.
Oh, no, I was just saying that's like praying over pork. Point blank. You can't give glory and honor to the Most High by honoring another.
Verse 34. So they joined battle, and there were slain of the host of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judah's soldiers, and how they were ready to either live or die valiantly, he went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Judea. Then said Judas and his brethren, Behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Upon this, all the host assembled themselves together and went up unto Mount Zion.
All All right, so this is the dedication. So the Hebrew word for dedication is H2598, and it is Hanukkah, Chanukkah, Hanukkah. That is initiation or consecration or dedication. So that's where the term Hanukkah comes from. It is dedication. When we were dedicating the temple, we dedicated the temple in the month Adar, which would have been the 12th month, because that's a pagan name. The 12th month is when we had dedicated the original temple. But in this situation, it was defiled and we rededicated, and it had to make a holy day around this dedication.
Verse 38. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up, and shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest, or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation, and cast ashes upon their heads.
And this is us when we realize who we were. When we realize, man, we the children of Israel. You mean we supposed to be doing it this way? You mean this is all pagan? This is all worship of the adversary? This is the devil's day? Man, we metaphorically ripped our clothes. We got rid of a lot of stuff we used to wear. I know I ripped a lot of clothes. I had crosses on it and skulls and peace signs and all kind of weird symbolism. And we were sad. We were really humble and had a contrite spirit when we realized, man, Most High, Yah, you are so merciful. We have been doing it so bad and so wrong all this time, and yet you still loved us.
Verse 40. And fell down flat to the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the trumpets, and cried toward heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bare out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down.
Because they cooking pork. They were forcing Israelites to cook pork on their pagan days and on the holy days. So they're like, they sacrificing swine's flesh, an abomination. We don't even want, this is just get rid of the whole thing. That's how we felt about ourselves, man. I get rid of all these things that I did, get rid of it. I don't want to even be around it. I used to walk around with a golden death symbol hanging around my neck. I used to kiss before I would go do something stupid, like it was protecting me. We are so ashamed of that. That's what this represents. This represents us getting rid of all the defilement from out of our temple and celebrating that Yah runs this here. This belongs to Yah.
Verse 46. And laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the law, and built a new altar according to the former, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple, and hollowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, and the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table, and spread out the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Caslu, in the and 48th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look, at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals.
All right, so verse 52. So that is the first day of your dedication, Hanukkah. It is on the 25th day of the 9th month. And you see how they confuse that with December 25th? Because it happens around that same time. But it's not December 25th because this ain't based upon a pagan holiday. December is not the 9th month of the year, right? So this would be December the 9th, around that time. That's the way it works out in our calendar. Would be the 25th day of the 9th month. And that's when you begin your Feast of Dedication.
Verse 55. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising Elohim of heaven, who had given them good success.
That's where the glory is supposed to go to the Elohim of heaven, to Yah. That's who you're supposed to give your praise and your glory to. And these days reflect that, because these are the days that belong to our culture. Everybody else had their own culture, which they stole from ours and from some of our predecessors, right? And they giving glory to the gods that they named, that they have created in their image based upon them. And then they turn around because they in control. We now giving their God glory. Verse 56.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
And this is how you celebrate Hanukkah. Go ahead.
They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields. And the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there a very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Caslu, the 9th, with mirth and gladness.
All right. So again, this is two men inspired by the Most High that have decided to make this a Memorial Day, a holiday. This is not Yah's set apart days, but this is giving glory unto the Most High. How could we not participate in something giving glory unto the Most High? Now, many of us, we knew that this was associated with Jewish people and a dreidel and all kind of weird stuff. So we kind of stepped away from it because it's not directly in Torah. But when we look at the history of it, we see that this is glorifying our God and what he did for us. And this is furthermore us dedicating our temples. So this is an opportunity for us and our families to celebrate. It says for 8 days, you're supposed to celebrate with mirth and gladness. So we can celebrate amongst our own families the dedication of our temple, ourselves, and our understanding. And we can give gifts to one another. Now, this is an opportunity for us for the kids to have fun and receive gifts and do all that without dealing with Satan Claus and Saturnalia and all that weird pagan stuff. I finished that up through 61.
All right, verse 60. At that time also they built up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Beth Surah to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea.
All right. Praise God. Edomites, once again, right there on the scene. All right. So let's go to 2nd Maccabees. We got one more reading. We're going to talk about the cleansing of the temple. 2 Maccabees chapter 2, and we're going to read 17 through 36. So we're going to the second book of Maccabees, and we're going to see a miracle that would happen. 17 through 36.
All right.
Or not 36, excuse me. start at verse 17.
All right. Second Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 17. We hope also that the Halahaim that delivered all his people and gave them all a heritage and the kingdom and the priesthood and the sanctuary, as he had promised in the law, will shortly have mercy upon us and gather us together out of every land under heaven into the holy place. For he has delivered us out of great troubles and has purified the place. Now as concerning Judas Maccabeus and his brethren and the purification of the great temple and the dedication of the altar and the wars against Antiochus Epiphanes and Eupator his son, and the manifest signs that came from heaven unto those that behaved themselves manfully to their honor for Judaism, so that, being but a few, they overcame the whole country and chased barbarous multitudes.
All right, now that's the first and only time you're going to see Judaism in the Bible. Now, this is also at the time where we are being occupied. This is when we're being occupied by the Greeks or the Romans or the Persians or any other nation, you're going to start seeing all these weird names and weird terms that have nothing to do with Torah. Judaism is nothing to do with Torah. Nothing to do with it. This is a religion that they changed and added. When you start seeing Caslu and all these and Adar, none of this is, y'all didn't give us any of these things. These aren't Hebrew words. These are words that we're picking up from the other nations.
Verse 22. And recovered again the temple renowned all over the world, and freed the city and upheld the laws which were going down, Yahweh being gracious unto them with all favor. All these things, I say, being declared by Jason of Cyrene in 5 books, will we essay to abridge in 1 volume. For considering the infinite number and the difficulty which they find that desire to look into the narrations of the story, for the variety of the matter, we have been careful that they that will read may have delight, and that they that are desirous to commit to memory might have ease, and that all into whose hands it come might have profit. Therefore, to us that have taken upon us this painful labor of abridging, it was not easy, but a matter of sweat and watching. Even as it is no ease unto him that prepares the banquet and seeks the benefit of others, yet for the pleasuring of many we will undertake gladly this pain, this great pain.
Right there. Let's move on. Let's go to John chapter 10. The book of John chapter 10. I wanted to show something else, but we're going to skip that. John chapter 10. We're going to see Mashiach keeping the dedication. So the miracles that were associated with that, with Hanukkah and the dedication, was the burning of the wood, where Jeremiah was doing a sacrifice and the wood continued to burn throughout the entire dedication of 8 days. So this was a tradition. This was known many times, where he caused fire to come down to light up and burn up the sacrifices. So we're at Yohanan chapter 10. And even though this is not a Moedim, it's not a set apart day, you still have Mashiach keeping that same tradition.
We starting in verse 1.
Yes, sir.
All right, John Yohanan chapter 10 and verse 1. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that enters not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that enters in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter opens, and the sheep hear his voice. And he called his own sheep by name, and leads them out. And when he puts forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And the stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
All right. So again, when we parrot the voice of Mashiach, which is this word, and we give the message and we warn people that they don't hear, we got to also remember Mashiach said, not one of these little ones is going to fall from my hand except for the son of perdition, so that the scripture could be fulfilled. So we don't control. If they are not hearing the voice, then maybe their shepherd isn't Mashiach. Maybe they don't belong to the Most High. That's not for us to judge. It's for us to shine the light and give the message.
Verse 6. This parable spake Yahushua unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Yahushua unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.
All right, so he's the door. The door is this word. If any man enter this word, it don't matter if you Yahudim or you a Goyim, a Jew or a Gentile. He shall be saved and shall go in and out and find pasture. So if you come to this word and go in through the word, you will receive life. If you come in any other way, you're a thief and a robber, and it will not last. It's vanity.
Verse 10. The thief comes not but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But he that is a hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, sees the wolf coming, and leaves the sheep, and flees. And the wolf catches them, and scatters the sheep. The hireling flees, because he is an hireling, and cares not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine.
So he is known of his sheep. So if you are one of his sheep and he's your good shepherd, then you know that Mashiach not dealing with certain things. Mashiach not coming to go deal with Easter. You're not going to see him dealing with that. You're not going to see him dealing with pagan festivities, Christmas and all these things that they put Xmas. They just insert whatever you want to insert there, whatever entity. But we're going to see what he's going to deal with. He's going to deal with things pertaining to the Father, according to this word.
Verse 15. As the Father knows me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice. And there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Therefore does my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I might take it again. No man takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. There was a division, therefore, again among the Yahudim for these sayings, and many of them said, He has a devil. and is mad. Why hear you him? Others said, these are not the words of him that has a devil. Can a devil open the eyes of the blind? And it was at Jerusalem the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
This is where you keep a dedication. So you see Mashiach showing up to honor the tradition that honors Yah. You don't have a choice to show up for the feast days because that's commandment. He has a choice here, and he chose to show up for the things that honor the Father, not anything that's going to give glory to another. Or you don't see him, he's showing up to somebody else's, birthday, and he's trying to, give them flowers on it. No, he's not doing that. The things that honor the Father. What else he showed up to? A wedding. What does the wedding do? It glorifies the Father. Go ahead.
Verse 24. Then came the Yahudim round about him and said unto him, how long do you make us to doubt? If you be Hamashiach, tell us plainly. Yahushua answered them, I told you, and you believed not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me.
Now, he never told any of them that he was Mashiach. But he said, I told you because the scripts told you. The scripture told you this is how I would appear and when I would appear and what I would do.
Verse 26. But you believe not because you are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me.
That's his sheep. They have to know the voice of the Most High, the voice which is his word, Mashiach, and they have to follow it. That's his sheep. If you following another, you ain't following him.
Verse 28. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand.
So how do you read any of this and get that Mashiach is actually Yah? He's telling you got a father. If you have a father, that means you not your father. There's somebody else. Somebody created you. You have a creator.
Verse 30. I and my Father are one.
Okay. Now, when man and woman come together, they become one what? One flesh. So they become one. But you still have a head. The husband's still the head of the house. But they're one flesh. So it doesn't mean they're physically the same people. They're moving with one consent. That's what becoming one is. Means we're moving with one consent. We're in agreement that this is the goal. And we're going to use all that we have to reach that goal.
Verse 31. Then the Yahudim took up stones again to stone him. Yahushua answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me?
All right, stop right there. Let's move on. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. So we see that he kept the dedication. He's dedicating his temple unto Yah. So now it's our time to follow and dedicate our temples to Yah as well. So we're going to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. We're going to read 7 through 23.
All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 7. So then, neither is he that plants anything, neither he that waters, but Elohim that gives the increase.
So if you can't cause anything to increase, what difference does it make if you're the one that planted or watered? I'm the one that started it. Well, I'm the one that, added to it. Yah gave the increase. Humble yourself. Verse 8.
Now he that plants and he that waters are one.
Okay, so do we think that's the same person? Because one planted and one watered, but they're one. Again, they're one agreement, one consent to cause something to grow.
And every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with Elohim. You are Elohim's husbandry, you are Elohim's building. According to the grace of Elohim which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I've laid the foundation, and another builds thereupon. But let every man take heed how he builds thereupon. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Hamashiach Yahushai.
So your foundation is this word. There ain't no other man can lay a foundation that's greater than this. There's nothing you can add unto this. All you can do is build on top of what's already here. The rules are already here. The structure, the foundation, it's already here. You're not going to add to it.
Verse 12. Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is.
Okay, the day shall declare it. So they're going to put light on it. So truth will either, manifest that, hey, this is solid, this is truth. Or the truth will set it on fire, that is fugazi, it's not real, it's vanity, it's not going to last.
Verse 14. If any man's work abide which he built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire.
He's saved by fire because at least he's working. He's agreed. He's at one consent that he's supposed to work for the Most High. He's supposed to be watering or planting. At least it's a consent. But there was some inaccuracy. There was some mistruth in there. So it got burnt up because once the truth came around, it couldn't stand. But guess what? He was still saved by that because at least he's working towards the truth.
Verse 16. Know you not that you are the temple of Elohim, and that the spirit of Elohim dwells in you?
So you the temple of Yah, literally. So you the temple of Yah, you telling me you're going to take that temple and glorify another entity? Just because it's sport, because that's what everybody doing? Because it's going to be some good eating? That's what you're doing. Because all your family is there? That's what you're doing. If you're not extremely intentional about what you're doing, that is exactly what you're doing. Now, whatever excuse you want to give for it, that's on you. But how are you being a light amongst the darkness if you're doing the dark things? So if you're going to come amongst your family in this darkness, then you have to be a light. You got to manifest what's going on. Or else, why are you there? Why are you here?
Verse 17. If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy. For the temple of Elohim is holy, which temple you are. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seems to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Elohim. For it is written, he takes the wise in their own craftiness.
Let me tell you the wisdom of the world. The wisdom of the world is your worldly friend that's trying to give you advice that goes against the word of the Most High. That's the foolishness. That's the wisdom of the world. Well, that's a smart person. Listen to him. Listen, I don't care how smart, how old, how much credibility you have. If you're going to counsel me against the word of the Most High, you a fool. Verse 20.
And again, Yahweh knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Therefore, let no man glory in men, for all things are yours, whether Saul or Apollos or Cephas or the world or life or death or things present or things or things to come, all are yours, and you are Hamashiach's, and Mashiach is Elohim's.
Hallelujah. So let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to the book of Hosea, Hosea chapter 14. Hosea chapter 14.
Hosea chapter 14 and verse 1. O Israel, return unto Yahweh your Elohim, for you have fallen by your iniquity.
All right. So we have fallen by our iniquity, our lawlessness, our sinfulness. So we cannot return unto him by doing the same thing and just saying it's not that serious. It don't work that way. We don't make the rules. We have to return to him, returning from him, which means turning away from those things that are literally against him.
Verse 2. Take with you words and turn to Yahweh. Say unto him, take away all iniquity and receive us graciously. So will we render the calves of our lips. Asher shall not save us. We will not ride upon horses, neither will we say any more to the work of our hands, you are our Elohim. For in you the fatherless finds mercy.
So you're not going to get help from these other nations. Assyria, Asher, Syria. You're not going to get help from these other nations. Go ahead.
Verse 4. I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely, for mine anger is turned away from them. I will be as the dew unto Israel. He shall grow as the lily and cast forth his roots as Lebanon.
So if he's saying he's going to turn away his anger from us, does that mean we can continue doing idol worship? He's just not going to be angry about it anymore? Does anybody truly believe that? Because that's what you're saying. I know we got kicked out the land for idol worship and doing and learning the way of the heathen, like in Jeremiah chapter 10, right? We learned the way of the heathen and Yah was mad at us and we fell by our iniquity, like verse 1 says. So you think he's not going to be mad. He's just going to stop being mad. So you killed somebody. He's going to stop being mad and allow you to continue killing people. Nobody does that. No human being, no other God is going to do that. So what makes you think the one true living Elohim, which is the source of all spirits, is just going to, he's not mad. You know, wickedness is not wicked anymore. Vanity. Verse 6. Or
His
verse
branches, verse 6, I think. His branches shall spread, and his beauty shall be as the olive tree, and his smell as Lebanon. They that dwell under his shadow shall return. They shall revive as the corn, and grow as the vine, and the scent thereof shall be as the wine of Lebanon. Ephraim shall say, what have I to do any more with idols? I've heard him and observed him. I'm like a green fir tree. From me is your fruit found. Who is wise, and he shall understand these things? Prudent, and he shall know them. For the ways of Yahweh are right, and the just shall walk in them, but the transgressors shall fall therein.
So it's that simple. The just shall walk in them. So Yah's ways All glory and honor goes to the Most High Yah through his word, period. And the just is going to walk in them, but transgressors, they're going to fall in it because they refuse to humble themselves to a greater power. They will only humble themselves to a greater power that will equal some instant gratification. So that's all we're going to do today. I pray that everybody that, you know, is dealing with these pagan holidays, I know it's difficult. I know it's hard because you want to be around your family. You want to be accepted. You want to be, you know, celebrated. You want all these things. But at the end of the day, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you set apart and bringing people toward the light, or you moving and you cow returning to his vomit, or a dog returning to his vomit and moving back towards the darkness. And remember what Mashiach said, are you not children of the light? So why would you go walk in darkness? So that's all we're going to do today. Any last questions or comments, go ahead and comment. I don't see any. If not, we will see you next Shabbat. And again, check our holy day calendar. If you have gained anything from our classes, you can donate to us on our website, and you can donate to us via Cash App, which is # S-word ATL. So that's all we're going to do today. Yah's will. We will see you next Shabbat. And until then, everybody enjoy their Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
Shabbat Shalom.